Right, so it's amazing to be joined by a man who we've had on the show a number of times before. It's the wonderful Daniel Eagle. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. Yeah, I'm as good as can be. It's it's not exactly like the greatest time to be a musician, but right now I feel like it is for me personally. So
Yeah. There was a question I was going to ask a little bit later, but because you've mentioned it, like being a musician already, it's not a great time. Obviously, you're a musician. You've been around for a number of years, but at the moment, you're trying to break it into. So is your career? Is your full time? Everything is music. Over the last 10 months, seeing the way the music industry has been treated, has that made you doubt this is the industry you want to go into?
Okay, so I've had a similar conversation recently with like my very good friend Josh Coates. Like Josh used to come on my show when I used to present on Voice, and we had a big conversation about it. I don't doubt that the music industry won't go back to how it was. I do think things are going to change dramatically, and they do every day. Like the rise of streaming services is definitely like I realized I've been doing music for 10 years now, which is great.
Yeah.
I've realized there's been this steep incline towards Spotify and other streaming platforms, and it's just it's quite bizarre because now you almost have to just give your music away for free, really, to get anywhere. You kind of have to go, here's this, but I'm doing all this other stuff that I need you to be vested in. I don't know. It's difficult, man. I think once you're in it, it's just an addiction. Music doesn't always have to be about performing or recording. You know, so you can put. You know, I've put on shows. You know, radio presenting, blogging. There's like all these different layers. So I don't know. The only fun thing about the music industry at the moment is the fact that we don't really know what's going to happen. So it could go really, really well, and this could be a time that almost every musician sticks together and supports their local scene. You know, I've definitely learned a lot more about structures of building songs now I've had time to do it. It's really bizarre. Like in the last, like you said, like in the last 10 months, I personally feel like my musical world has just gone like that and just totally just done a flip, because I was very much just like a cover singer for a while. I did like an album, and then I just stopped making music because it wasn't bringing in the income that, you know, I personally needed to live off. And I was doing all right because most pub gigs or festivals, whatever it is you're doing, they will pay quite well. Like if you're good at your job and you as long as you turn up on time with the equipment, this is it. And I think a lot of artists forget that all these little things are very important to the process of you actually performing that gig, not just doing the gig and being good enough to be there. It's the business side of it. You know, it's having respect for who's booked you or who's working on the day. Because if you turn up to do a gig and then you talk to the staff like, you know, crud, they're not going to remember. They're going to remember you, but just totally for the wrong reasons. You know,
there is that fine line between showing up and being confident and knowing that you can sing, you can play the songs, and then just be like, we're all the best, and I'm not doing it.
But like, in honesty, I think everyone I know we've all had like at least one or two ego moments, and I think it will happen. Like I can't hold my hands up and say it's never happened, because like when I started, I was like 15 in the music industry, and then I was in a duo for a while, and like it went really well very quickly. And when you're that young and your music starts going that well very quickly, you're like, well, we're the best, you know, like that's that. But then after a while, you're like, you're not the best. You're just you're just working in the right way that it's working for you. It's this really rough kind of like, no one really knows what they should be doing and what we can do, you know, but we still want to create and just unify in music. But how are you meant to do that when you can't fill a room with people anymore, you know?
Because I like the sentiment that obviously we need to support these venues. I know that there's a lot of fundraisings and things going around, and people are doing their best to try and help them, you know, obviously buy merch and things from the venues, because when we do get out of this, they're the places that we need, because
this is it.
They go so hard to get them back.
We need arts and heritage. We need it. Like it's not even like a want. We genuinely need it, because it is part of the reason that some of us even get up in the morning, you know, like, and if we don't have that, then what's the point? You know, it's like, I get it. Like it is difficult. It's an incredibly difficult industry. Like, but I'm still in it, you know, I still haven't given up. You know, we've had a pandemic, and I'm still here. I probably, and like you said in your first question, I don't know why. I don't know why I still do it, but it's just creativity. You know, you can't stop it. It will just happen. The music industry is fun, in my opinion. I feel like there's all these different levels, like, because you've got like the dance industry, and the dance industry, like, because I've got friends that dance, and it's like, that's brutal. Like, if you're not willing to like put yourself through physical pain and emotion to get there, then, and like you think about it now, like if people have like, you know, learned to be a dancer or a singer or anything, and they're just about to have the big break, and this happens, it's like some people like physically dedicate their life to their art. So for a pandemic to then just be like, you can't do it, how do you even fathom dealing with that, you know?
These last couple of tracks you've sent are they've just pushed you from that level just above to that. You've made your own unique sound. It now sounds like Daniel Eagle. Like when you put it on, like, this is Dan. This couldn't be anyone else now. This is you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very weird process. And like, there's like quite a few like people in my life that I've had to like speak to about the process, like, because yeah, you're like, you are totally right. I feel like very much I've finally found a sound that I'm really happy with. That's really me. You know, songwriting is in an art form can be just about what it sounds. It can just be what it sounds like. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the lyrics. The lyrics don't have to be totally overcomplicated a lot of the time, because if the song sounds good enough, you could be singing about anything. But if you put it to like, you know, something in a minor key, it's going to sound beautiful. You know, it's like, but then I also disagree that, and I like disagree with myself and say that, but other songs are very simplistic, like music wise, and the lyrics are absolutely beautiful, and the lyrics are poetry. So I don't know, man. It's been really, really weird, because in the pandemic, I've got a list over there. I've written an album's worth of music, basically. Nothing like I've done before. Like, it's all really very personal. Like, it's I'm actually quite anxious about like 2021, because it's very like the music I'm about to put out is very vulnerable.
Because I think you've already touched on it, saying about vulnerability, and I always find with an artist, when they do put themselves out there in that sort of way, I find it so much easier to connect with them, and you can often find yourself in a similar situation, like to what you're singing about. I can think of like a situation that I've been in that's similar or something like that. So it draws me in a lot more, and like the new track definitely does that for me. You can hear that vulnerability, and
it's weird. I'm going to release songs as I've written them, which is not a lot of people normally do, but I spoke to the producer, Matt O'Donnell, and Matt was like, you got to release these as you're making them, because it just makes sense with the transition of what you're trying to do. There's a lyric in it, which it says, stranger, stranger, smile at me, show me that you're happy, because I don't want to be, right? And it's like a prime example that all I've found myself doing since COVID's been out is that I will smile at people out in the street a lot more now. And which I've realised doesn't always come across that great, because a lot of the time I'm wearing a mask. Just smile at someone. It's not difficult. It doesn't take you any energy. It really doesn't. It's like a percent of your energy a day. And if that person smiles back, then you've just like literally made their day like that 10% better. But we have no idea. Like, even people we know well, we don't know what they're going through, you know, to an extent, but we are all in here, you know, so we're all in here. And you're the only person, you're the pilot, you're the only person that knows if you're going to land or not.
I love that, about that human connection at the moment, on whatever level it is. I think is so important. And a smile does change your day, because
this is it.
The times when I used to go to London, whatever, and you get on the tube and everyone just looks miserable, but it kind of puts a down on your day.
Yeah, and you look insane if you smile on the tube.
Like you said, that human connection, just supporting each other, even if you don't know people, just being nice has such an impact on people's lives.
It takes nothing, you know. It doesn't. I'm not asking you to, like, you know, I don't know. You just, all you got to do is just smile. And even if you don't want to, because sometimes when you're in a miserable mood and you smile at someone, it then cheers you up. You're not always going to be happy every day, you know.
No.
And it's not a promise that me or you can.
Obviously, for a promoter as well, are you just writing off gigs until everything's settled again. Just not even thinking about that. So just focusing on releasing some music at the moment.
The confidence in the whole industry got a bit knocked because we did start doing gigs again. And that's something that probably shouldn't have happened, because it then just built everyone into this kind of feeling that things were going back to normal. And like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here, but I just, like, to anyone else that might be watching this, I just don't see the point of pushing that as the main thing at the moment. You know, there's no point trying to push to be booking gigs. Unless you're like bands that have certain, you know, situations that they need to book things further in advance, like touring acts and that. Like, I understand that. But if you're like a local artist and you're like, oh, I just want to play some gigs, you know, there's no point getting frustrated about it. Like, you need to, this is the time to build your allies and meet new people in the industry. This is what I just find it weird that the world's gone this way, where social media is now a job, you know. When was that a thing?
I used to get upset like a few years ago when you put a picture up and you don't get likes. You're like, oh, what have I done wrong? Like, literally, it's weird. Like, it sucks you in.
I don't like that sensation. Like, I get annoyed at myself if I ever have that. Like, if say I put some promo up or I put something up, and I do try to be consistent, and I try to make sure my stuff's good, and, you know, and that people like it. But yeah, sometimes, like, if it's not got like 20 likes within like 10 minutes, you're like, everyone hates me, everyone hates it. Like, but you shouldn't feel that way. Like, it's just like, when did we start feeling like that? You know, it's just bizarre. Like, when would you, like, you wouldn't, right? This is my equivalent. You wouldn't walk into the street with a massive picture of yourself, right? Right. This is where I see this, right? You wouldn't just stand stand there just with this huge picture of yourself and wait for people to come over and go, I like that. I totally get what you're saying though. It's like, I never remember when that started, you know?
No,
I never remember when that feeling started, because it makes you feel incredibly anxious as well. I love social media, but I also really don't like it either.
No, it's got its greatness, but also there's a lot of, there's a very bad side to it. Smile at Me, it's out sometime here, there.
Yeah, here, there and everywhere. And yeah, there's a lot of music coming. I'm really excited for you to hear it as well, man. Because like, I feel like Smile at Me is just like a little tickle. I'm very ready to show like everyone what I've been working on. And Smile at Me drove me insane, because I would just never felt like it was done. And then I was like, no, it's definitely done now. So yeah, man, it's well, I guess it's kind of, we'll see what happens.
You've definitely been putting in the work, like you said. You've been doing this for 10 years now, and it's
mad.
You're there. Hopefully when this is all, when, because it will happen.
People have changed, man, in the last year. People have changed the way they look at things, you know. I miss having handshakes with people, to be honest with you. Like, you know, like running like music agency, like I spend my life doing handshakes, you know. You just, every time I meet someone, you're like, that's like, you know, my parents brought me up that that's what you do. You stand up when someone walks into a room. So for that to drastically just turn around, and we all doing all that as well.
Yeah, I do miss a good hug.
I know, man. I've got my dog. Like, it's fine. It's great. Yeah, like it's weird. Like, I think everyone's gonna. We're part of history. You know, it's not really history we wanted, but we are part of history, and it's quite crazy, because people will talk and read about this for years to come. And when people go, well, where were you in COVID-19? I'd be like, well, you know, I was sat in my flat with my dog for most of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not that impressive, really, is it? But, you know, if I'm then releasing music, then I've got something to say that at least I, like, you know, if it doesn't work out, Simon, then great, you know, it's fine. It doesn't matter, because I was doing it for me. That's like that. Yeah. Like, to kind of like wrap up everything you're asking, that's like the process, is that I have to do something for me right now, because I'm on my own, and I have my best mate with me, but it's not the same, you know. In future, if someone goes, what did you do during COVID? It'd be horrible to say, oh, I just sat it out and didn't do anything but watch telly, you know. I wasn't creative, even though I'm a creative person. It wouldn't make sense, because that's just not what I am. It's not, and a lot of my friends aren't like that either.
Thank you so much, Dan. It's been really nice.
Yeah, mate. It's just good. It's good to hear from you, man. It's hopefully when it's all over, I can actually come into voice and maybe get involved again. Be good. Amazing, man. Great conversation.